Hey there, I want to share a little story about self-love rocks with you. If you haven't seen that video already, please go back, check it out. It talks about how you can use rocks and crystals as a reminder to perform self-love. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Heather. I am a 20-year first responder turned holistic health nurse coach, and I'm here to support and inspire you to take better care of yourself. I'm also leading a campaign, Sabbaticals for First Responders. Several times a year, I attend a retreat where I'm in this just beautiful community that's very focused on personal growth, spiritual growth. Self-love is a big part of that. And I'm so grateful to have this community. Truly am. And I know that there is some privilege with that I could not be more grateful to have. And I wish for it to be available for all. But this last spring, I went to one of these retreats, and the composition of this group ranged in age from probably mid-20s to mid-60s. So I'm on the higher end of that range, but not the oldest for sure. And in it, there were, half dozen or so young men, maybe 25 to 28-ish. I don't know, maybe as young as 22. I don't really know. And most of these young men had been involved or grown up a part of a fairly strict religion, and yet they chose to come into their own power to help understand God on their terms, not on maybe their religion's terms. And they weren't trying to leave the religion. They just really wanted to truly know God in their own way and know self-love. And I gotta say, these young men were amazing. They've restored my faith in humanity. Just the sincere, earnest way that they engaged with their personal growth and development. Many of them came in wanting to really understand and explore self-love. And, I definitely had appreciated that term before. I've definitely done, some work in that arena, but I don't know, man. Today, after I did the video on the self-love rock, I just needed to have some real, honest, gratitude for these young men again, about how much of an impact they had on my life. I know I had an impact on their life too, because they were so gracious to express that in the moment, and I know I expressed gratitude in the moment to them too. Don't get me wrong. Quite frankly, I could not believe how helpful they were for me, because I was processing a lot of divine feminine concepts in my life at that time. And at first, when a few of them, approached me mid-retreat, offering to be an ear, wanting to talk, wanting to connect, and I had judgment. About I'm 51 years old. How does this 25-year-old young man, even if he happens to be married or not, or have kids or not, how's he gonna see me? How is he gonna help me reconcile, not being a mother, or, any number of other things in that regard? But I trusted myself. I'm sure, yeah. And I was just amazed at how insightful and kind and how they saw me. And over the course of a weekend, I came to really bond with many of these young men. And we had an afternoon off one of the days, or morning off one of the days, and I found myself at a crystal rock shop buying all these little rocks and not knowing why. I like this one. Oh yeah, this one. Da, da, da. Probably got a dozen. And I was like, trust me, I don't need any more rocks. I got a lot. And yet there I was at the cash register with a couple of my girlfriends looking at me, smiling and knowing that, here we go. So anyway, when I found myself connecting with some of these young men, I realized that some of the rocks that I had picked were very much heart chakra stones, self-love stones, whether by their shape, by their color, or just by, virtue of them being like rose quartz, or whatever. I I offered these young men because they felt, not through me, through their own work, they felt over the course of the weekend a really amazing connection with God. They felt a connection with their higher self. They felt a connection where they truly were able to honor and love themselves. And yet they knew that they were, for the most part, going to be returning back to their life, their world. You know, they weren't ready to abandon the church. They weren't ready to abandon their upbringing. They're just coming into themselves, right? So, but yet they also didn't want to abandon themselves and the self-love that they found. That's what they were struggling with. That's where the rocks came in. I just felt moved. And part of me was like, oh my God, they're going to think I'm the fucking hippie, crystal, new age woo-woo lady from California. That's crazy, that thinks this fucking rock is like going to do something for me. So I had a lot of inadequacy, a lot of fear, a lot of shit that I had to like work through, let go of. And ultimately I was like, fuck it, whatever. I feel called to do this. I'm going to do this. And it was amazing over the course of the weekend. I started, giving this, having those moments, talking about it, and just sharing with them my story a little bit, and meditation, and, how I use these rocks in such ways to as a tool, just like meditation is a tool, like psychedelics are a tool. There's lots of tools out there to help you get in touch with yourself. So if you choose to give some power to meditation, if you choose to give some power to prayer, if you choose to give power to, a psychedelic substance, why can't you choose to give power to a crystal, a rock, whatever, right? I think that logic resonated, and they were psyched. They were psyched because they were having this mom age figure that could see them, see their earnestness, see the intensity with which they wanted to be honoring themselves, as a soul being, and honoring their self-love. But yet they're not going to get a self-love rock from their mom because their mom is entrenched in the religion that wouldn't be open to that idea. And please know, there's zero judgment from me on this. Like, we are all on our journeys. I was just sharing my authentic self with them and seeing their authentic self. Each of those boys, young men, took their rock, held it, touched it, gave it their love, gave it their energy, put it in their pocket, hugged me, thanked me. Honored me in such an earnest and loving and sincere way. It was beautiful. It was funny because some of the guys told me after that they had seen that some of them had gotten them, and they were all just like, oh, I wonder if Heather's going to give me a rock. Of course, I had enough. I gave them all one by the end, and I just had to intuitively figure out which ones needed to go with which person. And it was really quite incredible and very, very amazing, and so honoring of my divine feminine to be able to honor myself as a mother in that way, since I'm not a mother of an actual human child. And over the course of the next several weeks, even months, I got several picture texts from these young men saying, I still have my rock. I handle it every day. It reminds me to love myself. One of them sent me a picture of how he took the rock and did something with it to create a necklace for it so he could actually wear it. I was just blown away at the showing of love and support, and how they really helped teach me to love myself, to honor myself, to be authentically me, to not worry about what, to not be worried about what I thought that they would think of me, and just to trust that and do that. And I also gave them the out. I was like, look, when this doesn't serve you, give it away to someone you think that will, or give it back to the earth, and it's okay. So that's the story of the self-love rocks. Thanks for listening. If you like my stuff, go watch my other videos. Go to my main profile page. Please follow me, like, comment, share. I appreciate you being here. You be well and love yourself.